of the craziest things is that I never talk about this, but there was an incident where we was doing an actual raid in a house, and we heard something clicking, and I didn't know what it was. And I looked back, it was an individual that was lying under something, had pulled trigger on the gun twice.
Yeah.
Go down. See if half my face is in that thing.
I'm dead.
Now this shit part of what's up, bro?
Chill.
I got my man Mike with me too. Chief Joe coming, man. Wait, I said what? What's going on? What's going on?
Nah, I'm straight. Appreciate it, though.
What's up, bro?
Nah, chilling up here for spring break.
For spring break.
Yeah.
What you doing for spring break?
Up here.
You gonna go nowhere?
No.
Why?
I don't want to go back to the city right now.
I feel you. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Coming to college and then like I don't know, like sometimes you just don't want to go home. Depending on like you know what I'm saying.
You want to get away?
You want to get away for a little bit.
Yeah.
But some people like going back home though.
They be getting homesick. I've been feeling like that since I was a kid though. Like I just want to get away.
For real. Man, I had one time. I think it was like my sophomore year. I never got like homesick to where I was like, man, I need to go home. But I had a dream. I started hearing like footsteps.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, I must be at home. And then I woke up, I was in the dorm, man.
In there tweaking.
I thought I was at home the whole time. But nah, I got my man Mike with me until Chief Joy show up, man. Chief Joy, you running late, bro. What's going on, man? I thought you gotta be on time, man.
You wet, bro?
Alright, wanna rush your ass. Nah. What you been doing though, bro? What's up? What you doing this week? Your week been good?
Yeah, I'm straight. I'm just about to just lock in my playbook, get ready for spring ball.
I saw you out there on the field, bro. You locking some shit up. You play DB, safety?
Yeah, I played corner.
For real?
Yeah.
Played in like throughout high school or what?
High school, I was more both. I was like safety and corner, so I was like versatile with it.
Oh, bro. You an ad?
Yeah, athlete.
No, you an ad.
What?
Ass.
How an ad, bro?
Now just talking shit. You think you lock me up, bro? That disrespectful. Can you think you lock me up?
You just made me.
How?
Yeah, ad.
I did not say it like
That's
that.
what you did, but no, yeah, I like you up there.
For real?
Then what you used to play?
Don't worry about what I used to play. You think you can lock me up?
Yes, I like you up. And I rock you up.
Cap. You just love your cap now, bro.
Nah, I don't play off. I was talking, but I like you up there.
For real?
Yeah.
We trying to rank, bro?
But feel right there.
Hey, if this video get 30 likes, we'll do a challenge, one-on-one. The one to get what though?
Gonna get what? Respect.
Just respect? I like it. Okay, bet. Shake on. If the video get 30 likes, me and Mike, we're gonna do one-on-one. We get one possession or what?
What was that? Best out of 3.
Best out of 3?
Yeah, 3 rounds.
Say less. Don't be out there talking about I'm out of shade.
No, girl, stay shit.
Alright, say less, bro. Don't be nervous either. Don't be trying to go on YouTube and learn how to rob people up.
What?
Don't be going.
No, I'm blocking you up.
I'm saying we're going vice versa.
Oh, okay.
We're going alternate.
Alright, bet.
I'm going in your room with no foot drill.
I used to play running back now. So I know a little something on that offensive side of the book.
Nigga, you know I play defensive line.
Oh my God.
So defensive line got a power, so they know how to finesse. So that means I'm coming out smooth.
No.
Fast.
But you're not faster than me.
Nigga, I ran the 4-3 and the 4-3.
Damn. This is me, bro.
Nah, bitch. I did run like 4-6 though.
Oh, see? That's nice. That's nice for a lineman. Yeah.
And I was 380.
That's nice.
And the NFL had caught me too though, but I ain't pick up.
Why not?
Went by my phone, yeah.
I feel you.
Talking shit. Nah, but Mike, I don't know, bro. He said he want to help me with the camera stuff, but he be playing, man.
I don't be playing. He be playing.
How?
You overthink.
I don't.
You be like, you not serious. And I'm telling you, I'm serious
bro,
in your face.
Bro, you laugh all the time, fam.
That's me.
I'm saying I respect.
And I don't laugh all the time.
Bro, you laugh at everything. I was just teaching how to work the camera, you just started laughing.
Because he was looking at me talking about how you press play. I was like, bro, the red dot, you talking about show me. Like, what did you talk
I'm
about?
trying to make sure I can't make no assumptions.
I feel you on that.
I don't know, man. What you gonna talk about until you come?
Sure. How does the season about to go crazy?
Okay, what you gonna do? Give me your prediction or your vision right now.
As a whole team, we're gonna go stupid. I think we locked in this whole spring, and I know the freshman they're gonna follow behind us. You know, we gonna keep going.
I ain't gonna lie, y'all have to set the tone. Like y'all gotta be one of those people that set the standard. Like y'all gotta set boundaries too. Like for example, like you see someone like bullshitting in the weight room, like
of course, yeah.
Even on the field, like y'all gotta hold up to y'all.
This season we really got that together too. Like being the brotherhood wise, like, stuff like that.
I like that. That's key. Even in my high school, bro, like we was so close. I don't know how, but we were real close.
It just be like that sometimes.
Yeah.
It just click.
I think Coach Brown need to take y'all to like to the movies. For real.
Yeah,
like
the team bond and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
Or bowling alley.
Yeah.
Or bowling.
And it's really up to us to do it by ourselves. It ain't up to him, to be honest.
Yeah, too.
It'll mean more if we come from, you know,
Front of the players. Yeah. Y'all gotta eat healthy too though, bro. Y'all be bad.
Oh. I eat healthy.
Cow.
I'm telling you, I eat healthy.
What you be eating, bro? Give me your daily routine.
I only eat chicken.
That's okay.
Like, I don't like the dirty meat. I don't eat pork. I don't eat beef. Well,
So you vegetarian?
no, I'm not. I eat chicken.
You just say you don't eat chicken.
I said I do.
You just said you don't.
No, I didn't. We gonna rewind this back and see if I said
This man said I don't.
I said I do, bro.
Oh, well, I probably misheard.
I said I only eat chicken.
You did not say I only eat chicken. You look at me capping, man.
But,
But nah, give me a daily routine though.
well, you know, for the off season right now though, I ain't been on it because it's bulk up season, so I just been eating whatever. Yeah. But during the season, I eat like I don't eat chips. I don't eat like desserts for it. I eat fruit for that, you know, for substitution. But I cut out a lot of meat. I only eat one meat, which is chicken, you know, because I don't like pork. I don't eat beef. I don't eat turkey. Ain't nothing wrong with turkey. Ain't nothing wrong with beef, you know, or ham. I just made that choice for myself.
Yeah.
And it really like.
You saw a bit different.
Yeah.
So did you eat that stuff before?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Growing up, that's all I eat.
Yeah. So when did you stop? Is it when you came in like college or high school?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like before college, like my 12th grade summer, like coming to, you know.
What was the biggest change or effect that you felt on your body?
I felt lighter.
Yeah.
Like I can do a lot more stuff. I can.
You having so much energy.
Yeah. I can jump higher. I can run faster.
I don't know. Do you think humans were meant more omnivores or herbivores?
Explain.
Herbivores like being like no meat, just straight plants, and omnivores eat meat and plants.
I feel like that's how it was. Like, you know, I'm a Christian. I feel like that's how it was back then. You know, because before, like, you know, BCE, it wasn't no like real sinning for real. I think.
It wasn't no real sinning.
Yeah, like as in like killing animals and stuff. You know.
I think the reason why back then, because you know a lot of humans were probably afraid. So like they didn't know how to hunt, you know. But
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like we were naturally herbivores because even our canines aren't that sharp for us to like digging into meat. If we were just to hunt with our hands and just no equipment and shit, or like eat meat raw, like our nails aren't able to clip unless you just grow them out. But even if you grow them out, they're sharp.
I feel like their body was way more different than ours though. You know, over time
we evolved or like whatever. I don't know if we evolved or we
probably, I feel like we decreased.
You probably think so, cause bro, motherfuckers back then was strong as hell. Niggas can't do 10 push-ups.
I can do 10.
I can do more. I feel like 100.
Now you capping.
What?
You probably talking about yourself.
Stop it. Stop it.
I'm like, but yeah, like, I feel like they were way stronger. Way stronger than us.
You believe in like giants? You think they were giants right then?
I feel like they was.
Yeah.
I feel like they were.
You know why? Because I don't want to say you know why, but like you know it's interesting. Like no one knows. Even scientists don't even know how the pyramids were made.
They don't.
No. It was so long ago, bro, and everything is so precise.
I feel you.
And if we was to recreate it now, it'd probably take us like
They'll probably just
10 years, probably. Huh?
They probably like just do their own way. Unless they gonna try to do it like
See what I'm saying? If they try to do exactly like that, they probably couldn't. That's the mystery down. Like, how do they do it? And then that's when the theory of giants come in play. Even though, what's the other, I think it's like one of the 7 wonders. Like with those big ass rocks. You don't know what I'm talking about.
I know.
Chief Jordan, man, college ass.
You call him. I call him. But no, you got collage about.
Yeah. Like eating wise?
No, I'm talking about.
What? Oh hell no, this shit getting uploaded.
You playing, bro?
This shit getting uploaded.
That
Yes sir, that's him.
here, everybody, you know. Now I'm gonna get out the seat.
Nah, you gotta wait till the team come in. Then we search it out. You feel me?
That boy shooting the wood.
He
But
shooting
ready
the
for
wood.
ready for the interview.
He stay shooting Buddha though. He stay fair.
You grown man, you got to.
Facts.
I feel I ain't got that age yet though.
For real?
For just suits. Nah, my joint straight like.
Man, it's imagine like, you know, grown ass people, they be, I won't say grown ass people, but like people that are.
Let me go get my bags.
Are you good, Cole? What you mean? Yeah, I got separated too though. I said I separated.
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay, good.
I'm like, everybody good?
Yes sir, you good?
You look like I can come down here. Man, this look real nice.
Man,
Yeah.
I tell him, he sent a tone, bro. He here,
Now for the
man.
main event.
Appreciate you, brother.
You good?
Yes sir, you
Good.
what's going on, man?
Same old, man.
Yeah.
Try to maintain, make sure everything going okay.
That's pretty cool, pretty cool. I see you in fraternity.
Oh yeah, Alpha Phi Alpha, been in about 5 or 6 years. I am the chief dean of the West Tennessee area. So it's like, I think that's, other than me being married, it's probably one of the greatest days of my life when I crossed the burning sand.
For real?
Yeah, it's a result.
So, I don't know. I don't think this question is like legal to ask. Well, I'm speaking on like outside perspective,
Yeah.
like a return. So you know the movie, is it called Burning Sands?
Yeah.
So is it like that? Join a fraternity?
It's according to what organizations let people do certain things. Everybody will tell you that their organization does not haze, and they're not supposed to. But you got some individuals that will do things that they shouldn't do, and they're actually not representing the organization's belief. They're representing personal beliefs.
Yeah.
So you got that's going on in just about every organization, my organization, everybody's organization. We don't condone of it, and anybody will tell you we don't condone hazing. So that's one of the key things that the reason I would say one of the main reasons that I end up joining.
For sure. I like that.
Yeah.
But what's up, you two? Welcome back to the Down the Street podcast. I got me a cool dude. Chill, swaggy. Chief Joe, what's up, man?
Man, I'm just holding it down. Just trying to make sure everybody good, man.
Yeah.
Trying to make sure everybody good.
For people that don't know, cause I know your background.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if you want to mention like what job you did first, and then what you transitioned to, that'd be pretty.
I worked law enforcement for between 13 and 14 years. Worked homicides, burglaries, narcotics, did a lot of financial crimes, and I'm gonna be honest, I just really thought that was my God's gift to, I never lost a criminal trial over the years that I was there, which was unheard of.
For real?
Never lost a criminal trial. But the thing is that what touched me one day was when I started dealing and seeing more youth. So I always wanted, from a perspective, I looked at, why am I always being involved in a lot of youth arrests and a lot of young black men? So from that point, I just was like, God, send me where I need to go.
Yeah.
When they change sheriffs or whatever, they may not have the same vision that you have. So I end up here, and it was like, it was prophesized maybe I think right at 15 years before now that I would be in a place where I affect 1,500 students a day, and I didn't believe it. I never believed it. So I ended up coming here. Been here about.
What is here though?
Lane College.
D-Lane College.
D-Lane College.
Yes.
Well, under the leadership of President Dr. Logan Hampton and my boss, the Executive Vice President Darryl McGee, we just do, man. It's not like a police or security system here. we try to implement, well, you could just walk up to me and you could talk to me. And those were some of the things that I saw in the streets that I didn't really too much care for. Police officers, most of them, not all, because you got some great guys, great women, some of them are not approachable.
Yeah.
And that's because they're not adapted to, like certain areas. You can take me and put me, I can work financial crimes, I can go straight to the hood, but some officers you just can't bring out of the cabin and go straight over to the east side, and they've never been to the east side. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you think, is that the reason why like police brutality kind of?
I think it deals with a lot of training, and I also think it needs to be more diversity training. Because you think about it, if I'm an African American officer and I've never adapted to being in a Caucasian climate, then that makes me not be aware of certain things I can't adapt to when I get to a scene. So when slang hearsay is this on the African American side, if you don't know it, it could mean something else to you. If you don't know it,
you start making assumptions.
So you start assuming, and then sometimes the badge is used as a shield, and when it really shouldn't be used as a shield, it should be used as a diffuser. So I mean, I've been doing, like I said, now it's going right at 20 years. I love it. I just love being around Lane College and Lane College students.
100%. So like working in the streets and then coming into like institution with students, like what's the biggest thing that you notice in yourself as in like growth?
A perfect example. It's a lot of things that I have the value now that I can conversate with a young brother and say, hey man, that's you can't do that.
Yeah.
But per se, when I'm on the streets, the law, it tells me I have to follow the law by the book and say, that subject will be arrested. But here, if I see somebody doing something that I would say that's measurable, I'll go, hey man, let's look at that. Don't talk to her like that. Don't do that. Mm-hmm. So now I'm in a position that I can gauge the atmosphere versus me, just arresting people. And I never wanted to be a part of something like that in the beginning. I wanted to be a part of studying.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like finishing up my doctorate now. I got like maybe probably 3 to 4 months at the max. I'll be finishing up my doctorate, and it pertains to young youth and behavior and what is the behavior that leads them into the criminal justice system. Yeah. And I've been studying for like 3.5 years.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So like that's crazy because I'm interested into like learning like why do people do certain things, you know what I mean? So I know that's like more psychology, so like are you studying that psychology?
Well, it's merely based upon behavior health consultants, so it's based off psychology, and it's also based off of counseling. And like it's just an intertwine of different things where now I'm able to, like when I'm literally interviewing people, I can tell, that's the diagnosis or this is that. And I'm able to help diffuse a lot of the situations because I think our biggest issue is as African Americans, they were, back when I was coming up, you just got the brakes beat off of you when you did something wrong. Now everybody tries to label something and say, that person may be suffering from this disorder or this disorder. And I think a lot of young African American males and females have been misdiagnosed. And they've been, from my study, it shows that probably, I can't say the exact percentage, but when you're misdiagnosed and you're treated with different type of medication, it really throws you off chemically.
100%.
Yeah.
I actually watched a podcast. I can't remember. I don't know what podcast it was, but they mentioned that like when people go in for like when children have ADHD, the people that like a psychiatrist, they provide medicine and stuff. So like when they go to a psychiatrist, they immediately say, you're gonna be put on medication.
Yeah.
They get paid for that when they actually diagnose people with meds. So I understand what you're saying, but so like, do you think everything is based off like financial, or you just really think people really need medication?
Sometimes, and it is some cases where individuals may need medication.
Yeah.
But I don't think that the actual answer always first is medication. You have to do treatment. When you go in, they're listening for certain type of behavior analysis that they use. They're listening to the time frame, your age. Sometimes if a traumatic experience has occurred early on in life, if something happens later when you're about 20 years old or 21, it triggers it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that. So, and we're at the age at the college campus, if you see something that happened to you way back then and it happens now, it can actually trigger it. So medication, yes, some people do need it, but I would say a lot of percentages that they give out, they don't. It's according to, they need to do real good research on what type of medication that the psychiatrist actually gives out, because medication is not always going to solve everything, but in some cases, severe cases, in some mild cases, you do need it to function daily.
Yeah. I want to segue back into like you being an officer. What's the craziest story?
One of the craziest things is that I never talk about this, but there was an incident where we was doing an actual raid in a house, and we heard something clicking, and I didn't know what it was. And I looked back, it was an individual that was lying under something, had pulled trigger on the gun twice. The gun misfired.
For real?
Yeah, so I don't really talk about that too often because it really impacted me from that point forward. I started to think about my life. I got kids, I got family. And it was like, it really changed my way of how I think as far as my Christianity. Because it's different to sit there and everybody always want to, they talk about being a street person or whatever. Me, I'm raised in the projects, but that does not have anything to do with anything when you hear a gun go click. And that really impacted me from the law enforcement perspective. It really did.
Yeah, that's crazy. Cause before, like when I was in college studying criminal justice, like around like my sophomore year, cause I'm into like puzzles and like solving things. So like I was always watching like Blacklist is what I'm referring to. I like watching those type of dystopian type of TV series. So I'm like, yo, I'll be pretty cool being an FBI agent. So I was telling my dad, like, I want to become an FBI agent. And then I look at the requirements. I was like, dang, I got to become like a police officer or a SWAT team just so I can get the credentials. And so I was talking to him about it. He was like, man, nah, because like, when you go in that field, you're not just for yourself, you're for everybody.
It's true.
And so like,
that's true. That's true. But the educational portion that I never received, that you're in the perfect segment way to start your transition. If that's what you want to do, don't let somebody tell you can't do it. It's easier for you to do it now than it was. Nobody explained that to me because, truth to be told, I worked a lot of cases, some with federal agents, Secret Service, ATF, a whole bunch of different agencies, but nobody never set me down at 20 to 21 years old and told me, hey man, if you graduate, you get this so many points on your application when they try to interview you. They give you those points. So becoming a police officer for maybe a couple of years and applying will push you up the ladder even further, and you could probably, with a good record and background, be in the federal agency like 4 or 5 years if that's what you want. It's not as hard to get in because they're searching for good African American men that have a good background, and that's the key thing. Make sure you keep yourself straight, you don't get involved in anything, and keep your social media clean. Keep that social media clean, because it's not how they interview you and talk to you, but they actually will. Someone will go back and look at your Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook to see what type of person that you really are versus you sitting in a room interviewing.
That's why I don't like when like seeing my generation post like partying and stuff like that.
I noticed that. And I would tell anybody that's even listening in this podcast, when you post stuff like that, that's a receipt to stupidity. Because sooner or later that will come back and haunt you, where you got into with a young lady, call her out her name, or you got into a guy, call him out his name. You cannot erase it. You cannot erase it. It's there for life. So you gotta really think about what you're doing and what you're saying when you post these things, especially something negative. It takes just as much power to post something negative as it would to post something positive. So that tells you what type of person that person really is.
Right, 100%. So like, seeing, how long have you been here at Atlanta?
I've been here going on close to 8 years now.
So what was the growth like from then to now?
As you can see, when I first got here, it was a lot of things going on that I would deem that everybody else would deem as bad. I would see it as communication. When Dr. Hampton brought us on, that's the whole thing, is verbal communication with the students. The students are more receptive to talk to us versus back then they were told not to talk to you guys. So now we have a team that you know for yourself. You can come to my office, you can talk to me, you can sit down, we can have a chop up a conversation. And I think that's the biggest issue now. And plus, we implemented the LeoSafe app where people can report incidents, and they can do it anonymously.
Yeah.
So that's the key thing. We don't want to label nobody as a snitch. That's not what it's about. But when you see a student getting assaulted or somebody has gotten medically hurt or ill, then you want to report that. And sometimes people just don't want to tell that they said it or something, so they can download that LeoSafe app and they can report it anonymously. And that right there has probably dropped our crime rate probably like right at 60-something% in the last 6-7 years.
For real?
It fluctuates up and down. It's according to the season.
Yeah.
When it get warmer, things start to happen on the college campus. That's in every university. Every university.
Yeah. So be on the lookout, man. When it get hot, lock them doors, man.
Yep. Just make sure you protect yourself just at all time.
Yeah.
At all time.
So this is a controversial question I'm about to ask. Shout out to my homeboy Gary. He actually gave me this question. He was like, is it dumb for when people take crime for someone else? Take the consequences.
That's kind of like it's almost like a street question. That's what you want to say. But you really have to take on the perspective of who and what, because you could take on that responsibility for that individual, but we really need to think about what you should have thought about before you actually committed that crime.
100%.
Because if you hadn't have got caught, we wouldn't have that conversation about guys taking licks, what we call taking licks. They taking a hit for somebody that, they got a family, they got a kid, and you don't have anything on your record, and you take that, but guess what? You got it on your record now. Mm-hmm. And would that individual do the same thing for you?
Right.
So that's going to be one of those questions where those two individuals, if they know each other, that's on them. But me, myself, I would never tell anybody to take a charge for somebody else. I just would not. I wouldn't, because if you didn't do a crime, why would you take it? Mm-hmm. And you never know what could possibly happen to you if you go in the inside. Mm-hmm. So that, something happened to you, God forbid, you get in the inside, somebody do something to you, you die, and you actually pled to something that you didn't do, and that individual's on the outside. He's living his life with his family.
He laughing,
he giggling it up. So I've seen instances where people take that leap for folks. I don't know why. Maybe it's a street thing. You don't talk, you don't say this, but I'm gonna be honest. I ain't going to jail for nobody, and I don't want nobody to go to jail for me. That's real talk.
Let me ask you that. I seen this post on Instagram. That was like, if your significant other was doing like a crime and they was hiding money from you, mm-hmm. and she got caught. I'm saying she because you're male. Yeah. And when she got caught, she had to do like 10 years. But if you took the crime for her, if you took the responsibility, you will only do 2 years. Yeah. So would you do that? It's a girl of your dreams. Now you talking about a girl of your dreams versus a wife. That's something totally different. Because if you talking about a girl of your dreams, it's something totally different. And then another thing is, why was that money there? What type of money was it? Was it drug money? Was it laundering? That is a crime that I'm going to be stuck with. So no, I wouldn't put myself in the middle of it, because to me there was a lot of betrayal done before it got to that point. Mm-hmm. So you're actually taking on the responsibility for somebody that either they was messing with drugs or, again, money laundering or doing something illegal that they shouldn't have been doing. Yeah, it's almost the same thing like we just talked about. Right.
I don't see myself doing anything like that. I don't want to see anybody else doing anything like that. So you shouldn't put yourself in a position where you say, what if? That's the main thing, because everybody's not going to take a crime or take a bid for you. They not going to do it. Mm-hmm. You got a lot of guys right now that's in jail that has took bids for guys, and they wish 1,001 times that they never did it.
100%, yeah.
They never did it.
Have you ever been inside of a jail or a prison?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I did for a lot of years. I interviewed in prisons. I worked violent assaults in prisons. The jail where we actually came from, the sheriff department, it was set up like it was really set up like a jail, like a prison, same exact way. Locking doors, locking mechanism, cameras everywhere, the same exact way.
So is it true on like how people say jail is or prison? Like, how it's violent, and then they be. It's
really according to what jail you're in, what city you're in, and lastly what pod you're in. Because you got gang members, vice lords, gangster disciples. You got them all in every area. And I know some guys that that have flags and they some of the coolest guys in the world. And then you got some of them that do a lot of gang banging. And sometimes, you know, when they're in prison, it's about, or jail is about showing who I am. And that's what makes it so dangerous. That's really what makes it dangerous. It's like everybody wants to say, you know, I'm the head person in charge. That's what makes it dangerous.
So do you think people that are in prison, you think they deserve a second chance in life?
Almost definitely.
Yeah.
I mean,
even if they committed the worst crime in the world, then they deserve a second chance?
I've always said this: if God forgive us for our sins, we're supposed to forgive 7 times 7. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm a real keen person on this. Even with me being in law enforcement, when a man commits a crime, he's did his time. I think when he gets out, everything needs to be reimbursed back to him as far as like his voting rights, all these things, because he's done everything. He's paid his debt to society. There's no sense of hanging something over that guy's head or that young lady's head. They laid down 10, 15 years. They shouldn't have to be still in prison after they get out of prison. I don't believe in that.
Yeah, because it ain't gonna do nothing but do a whole recycling.
Yes, and that's why a lot of things is going on today. Like you said, it's a recycle because when they get out, they gotta pay their fines and the restitutions because they've been locked up for 5 to 10 years. And then you got me as a person that's been convicted. Now I gotta try to figure out how am I gonna pay this, and I can't get a job because I'm a convicted felon. No. If they paid their time, you know, if they did everything, let's let it go and forgive them and move forward.
Yeah, 100%. I agree on that. So I don't know why I keep on creating these scenarios, but
no, you fine.
You saw a guy stealing, and he's stealing for his family. Like he don't have any money or anything. I know you do a good deed and pay for it, but like as a police officer, do you still like arrest him and stuff like that?
No, I've been in a situation where I've stopped a guy myself personally and say, hey man, don't do that. You know, you don't want to get in no trouble. And then I could have a conversation with the manager and say, hey man, can I talk to you for a second? And then I voice my opinion, and if they don't want to prosecute, then I go, hey look man, you know, let's do this. What do you need? Mm-hmm. And then at that point, they tell me I have paid for it. I've done stuff like that. Yeah. It's not about me trying to get over here and say I'm doing this because the cameras are. That's the type of man how I am, how I was raised to always give back, even when there's no place to give. You give from your heart.
100%. Yeah. 100%. You got a question for him?
Nah, I ain't got a question.
You sure, bro? You from Detroit?
Yeah, you do. You got something. You got like most guys from the city. They get a different perspective because down south is totally different than up there. Yeah. Policing is totally different. It's different.
And you from Detroit, bro? That's a dangerous city.
Yeah, it is. I guess one question is, like, did you love your job?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, I've always loved. I guess the thing about the connection with people and how I connect to people, and not acting as an authority figure, but here at the college, I don't have to act as like the law. I can act as a father figure, a best friend, Pops. Some people call me Pops, Chief Joy, whatever, you know, but it's always something positive, and that's why I like it so much here. And I know I was placed here by God. I know I was, no doubt, I know I was.
So how did you know when this was your calling?
I think when I interviewed here a couple of times, and the last time, that's when I felt, I think I was interviewed by Dr. Goldman, mm-hmm. and also I think Mr. Dean, Brother Dean Smith. And the first time I looked at it and I was like, I don't know about this. The second time I was like, I don't know about this. But the third time I went into like a deep prayer. And that's when I came back and I actually walked the streets, or shall I say walkway, in the I call it the spirituality realm of Lane College, and I saw all this beautiful gym on this college campus, and I saw all the African American students walking around having a good time on the HBCU, and that's when I realized, hey, I can change some of these kids' lives, mm-hmm. and I don't have to use no type of force, but I can use just verbal talk.
Yeah.
Because some of them have never heard. Like one day I just told this young lady, I said, look, I love you, you're gonna get through this. And she burst out. And I was like, why are you crying? She said, because I haven't heard a man tell me that my whole entire life. So things like that let me know that this is my calling. I know this is my calling. I know it, no doubt.
Yeah. So should dad be a daughter's first love?
Always. Because the reason I say that so much is that you want your daughter to experience a love that she can't get anywhere else. Because even when you meet as a female, when they meet their husband, they will experience that second love, but the most greatest love, the first greatest love is that you get is from your Father, which is God. The second love, it should come from your dad. You know, them knowing how to do certain things, them knowing how to go about speaking around men, to men, telling you that he ain't this way, and you can spot it right off the bat. Mom can't teach them that. So a lot of things, the man, from a man perspective, is like it's a godly gift, and it's vice versa on the mother's side too. So those two people, you want a girl to feel those love from both of those parents, not from a guy first, because usually if they do that, they'll fall so deep in love that they won't listen to anything that the mother or father said. And it's really their fault. Yeah. It's really their fault.
Now, that's real, because a lot of people, I say a lot of parents don't admit to their fault. You know, they be shocked. I don't know, I feel like they'll try to convince their children that they did the best that they could, whatever, but.
And we fall short. And every parent falls short.
100%.
Nobody did. I'll say this. I don't think that you did the best that you could. I think you did the best with what you had to provide them with. Because there's a lot of things that I look back, I could have done something deal with my son. I could have done some things different with my daughter. But true testimony, my daughter is a forensic family psychiatrist in California. My son works for Dale, does has his own little car wash business. So it's really what you input at an early age. But if they fail, it's still not to say that I didn't do my job. But if they fail, I'm still gonna love them the same way. And some parents, they turn against their kids because they failed, or they went to jail. They just made a mistake. Just, you gotta love them the same, whether they are successful or not successful. And that's just, and I see a lot of people, everybody praises everybody when they do something right, but they are quiet when they do something wrong. And those are the things that you need to come to the light and realize that, young men and women are gonna make mistakes. Y'all are facing way more than what I faced when I was young. And I take my hat off to people around you guys' age. I think I was saying that to you the other day, about what y'all go through. Y'all dealing with, all these types of drugs, cyber crimes, all this crazy stuff. We barely just deal with marijuana. That's really, and they would drink. Nothing what y'all dealing with. Fentanyl, lace marijuana, meth, all this cocaine. Y'all dealing with all this stuff. Plus y'all are in a school or going to school. It's crazy. So I take my hat off to anybody that walks across that stage, man. They've been through it.
Right. So what's the have you ever cried on your job? Like something that made you emotional?
Yeah. It was I won't go into names or nothing, but it was a case I was working on where we were trying to figure out the scenario. I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but we were trying to figure out what happened with the mother and the daughter. But come to find out, after a long, lengthy investigation, the mother and the daughter was killed. And I was the lead investigator on it. And just to sit there and tell the father and his daughters that they were killed and how brutally they were, we didn't go into the brutal part, but he knew later on, and it just gutted me. It gutted me because I'm a human being. Can you imagine, you go to bed at night and you wake up, one of your daughters is gone, two of your daughters is gone, and your wife is gone. And the person chose to kill two of them. And that was like that was also a changing moment in my career. And I cried, and I'm a human being like anybody else. And it was a young child, about 11 or 12 years old, and she was like in her early, maybe 28, 30, right around that age. So both of them were really, really young, and that got to me. I think I took off maybe a week or two to actually compose myself to where I could think, because I'm a human being. I'm still human.
So the mental state is like one of the biggest things. Is the most important thing being an officer, or?
Oh yeah. And I don't know if any officer will listen to this. Most of the time they'll tell you don't take home your problem. Yes, you do. You may can't talk to your wife about the specifics of cases or things that go on, but you need to release and talk to somebody. Because if you don't, you're walking around with all this stuff bottled in you for years. And that's why so many officers, they died at an early age. A lot of them died because, like, we're sitting here now in the conversation, and then we get what we call a hot call. It's a hot call. We got shots fired over like 4 or 5 miles away. Our adrenaline goes up. We're driving a car going 80 to 100 miles an hour to get there to make sure everybody's safe. And then when we're done, our adrenaline goes back down. Then the next thing you know, an hour or so later, we got a wreck on Highway 57. We shooting the Highway 57, so your adrenaline's going up and down.
Yeah.
That's not good for your health.
For real?
It's not good for your health. It usually causes high blood pressure, and that's why a lot of officers have high blood pressure.
But I thought that would be I know it probably is, I wouldn't say exciting in a fun way, but it probably exciting just to do your job.
Oh, it's exciting.
Yeah.
When you're young, you're 20, 21, you have to be 21 to be an officer. But 20, can you imagine, just think about this. You have always wanted to become a police officer, but your first thing about becoming a police officer as a young black man is like, man, I can turn the lights and sirens on.
Yeah,
you know, but your training tells you when to turn it on. And so your first time flipping the lights and siren on, going to an emergency situation, your adrenaline, your heart is beating. You can't hardly breathe because that's your first time being able to go through all the training that you went through, making sure you're looking both ways and then look both ways again. Then you stopping in the red light, you're looking again before you go across, and then you're going, you hit your yelps, you go across. Yelp is the sound of the horn goes off. So it's exciting, but over the years' time, it wears on your body.
You get old.
Yeah, it wears on your body.
So like, explain your very first traffic pull-over or your traffic stop. Were you nervous?
No, I wasn't nervous.
Nah, we cabin you.
No, I wasn't nervous. I think I was more. I think because you gotta remember, and I actually did policing in a city where I was raised. Like I knew everybody. I knew my friends. Everybody was in this city. So I was raised in Hardeman County, which is Baldwin. So I knew everybody. So if I pulled people over, I already knew
who it was.
7 out of 10. I knew that person was.
Yeah.
So I'm being, but they would tell you that you can't drop your guards because most officers, in some cases, their interactions that they have are they're killed by people that they know. So I'm I did different techniques. I didn't go on this side of the car, went on the opposite side of the car. At night I used different techniques that I did to keep myself safe. So I mean, being nervous, I wouldn't say I was nervous. I would say I was cautious because that's what probably kept me alive while I was doing a lot of police work I was doing, just being overcautious.
Yeah. Well, what's the little practice police officers do when they walking up to a car that's pulled up? They tap the back of the tail light or back of the car?
We call it touch and tag.
Oh.
So like if I do a traffic stop, I'll go up to the back of the car, I will touch the light. Therefore, that's an indication to show that I've tried or in the process or did a traffic stop with the individual. If something happens to me, they got my fingerprints on the back of that light. So that's one of the reasons that we touch and tag.
Oh, okay. Just trying to be safe and have evidence. Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. What was the biggest drug bust?
Maybe close to $500,000, $250,000.
Damn.
In a mail drop. Yep.
Who?
Mail drop. Individual had it. He was getting it actually bought in from California, and we did a probation check on the individual house and found the drugs there.
Damn.
It was a lot.
So like being in that situation, like what like when people like a drug bust and they have like stats and stats, so is the temptation high?
No.
To like, you know what I'm saying, no little $100 in my pocket.
No. Because you really got to think about it. If people do stuff like that? Yes, but you got to really fall back on. If I do it, I'm just like them.
Yeah.
Even if it's a drug dealer or whatever, if you take anything from that perspective, you are just like them. So when we would run across cases where it's a large amount of cash, I don't care if it's from 500 up to whatever, a small amount, we would always have 2 to 3 officers count off at the same time while we're standing there, and we would count it. Then that one will count it, then that one will count it, and then we'll come back around to me, we count it again. Then we stick it into an evidence bag and we would seal it with our names on it. Then we get back to the office, then they would check and make sure the seal hasn't been broken, and then we'll put it in evidence.
Right. So going into like another segue of like Black Lives Matter or like police brutality. So why is it hard for like seeing those incidents? Why is it hard for another officer to like seeing an officer take advantage of another individual, and it could be like 2 officers on one person? Why is it so hard for like the other officers probably watching to stand up for, hey man, y'all chill out, y'all doing way too much, or like, okay, relaxing? Is that a hard thing, or is it just like y'all gotta stay by protocol and just not seem soft?
Most of the time when you're dealing with a situation, every situation is different. So when you're apprehending a subject on the ground, if you got one standing up watching, he's really actually watching the perimeters to make sure that nobody else jumps in until they get that subject detained. Now, once that subject is not combative, he's not doing anything bad, no, there's no reason for you to apply any type of pressure points. Once you get handcuffs on them, the best thing you can do is set them up politely and just say, hey man, I'm gonna raise you up. Can you roll over on your side? We're gonna get you up. That's the way it's actually supposed to be done. But you also got to look at it deeper. If the social media only shows what officers do bad, what do you do? What do you show when they do things good?
Right.
And we are a world today. We just like bad. We just love seeing bad things. A perfect example. I can do 20,000 good things, and if I do one bad thing, they'll remember me for that one bad thing. That's how society is. We're not accepting when somebody doing something good because it's not good news. But I have seen some things where, when I was in law enforcement, I'm like, I'm not just saying this, but hell no, you shouldn't be doing that. No, stop. And that's how I was, and that's how I ran the ship that I was running. It's like, I'm not gonna see anybody done wrong. I don't care whether you black or white. If a person is not acting out, you can only exert the amount of force that's exerted towards that person. So you shouldn't be using a baton on somebody if they can't do this. As far as like, if they coming towards me and they got a knife or something in their hand, everybody said, why come you just didn't shoot them in the knee? Because if, for some godly reason, if they coming towards you with a razor or something and you don't put that subject down, then you looking at, you got cuts and stuff all over on the top of you. Now I do think that there's different levels of, that we can actually use as far as like when we're into like a violent situation like that, because you can go to beanbag rounds, you can go to tasers.
What is beanbag?
You can get a shotgun that can shoot out like a beanbag or deploy.
Or like rubber bands?
No, it's not a rubber band. It's like a bag, and it hits you with a force and like knock you down. So I would rather shoot a person with something like that versus having to use a lethal weapon to kill somebody. Mm-hmm. But you don't know what that situation could be. It could be you just walking up to a car, looking off in the car, and a person pull out a gun, and you have no choice but to shoot the individual.
Yeah.
But that beanbag round or other different type of devices they have, if it's a moment where I can think and sit back, like say for instance, a person has a mental disability or something, and you can tell something's off with them. You don't want to pull your firearm out of it. And, try not to use a lethal weapon to do something like that. But in some cases, if they got a knife or something coming towards you, then you have to react upon that. So it's according to the agency policy, how they handle that, but accordingly, you just have to address each situation, each on his own.
Right. For like a black man perspective, like how, like when we get pulled over, it's instantly like the aggression rises.
Yeah.
So like, how would you tell a proper, a black individual, like, don't do this when you get pulled over, follow, even if the police officer isn't doing exactly what he's supposed to do, so should we fight against that?
Well, I think the biggest perception of the first thing that we don't think about is where we keep our license and our insurance policies. Because the first thing that we do is when a police officer pull you over, what is the first thing you do?
He asks for your license.
Well, before you get to that point, what do? You reach over to start to get stuff out of your glove box, right? Mm-hmm. So we're trained to look at your tag and look at your tag moving if it's swinging. So if it's swinging, it making me think, what are you doing?
Yeah. So
I got to think about, I got to get home. So what I've trained my son is that don't put your insurance information in your glove box, keep it above your visor. So everything like your driver license and visor is right above you. So when the officer comes up, you keep your hand on the steering wheel where you can see him, he can see him, and then everything you do in movement. And you can also record. Record. You use a phone for everything else. Hey, look, I'm gonna go ahead and reach up and get my driver's license, my insurance. You mind if I get it? Because the excitement level for an officer goes down if it's right here versus you reaching across to get something over there, and your hand, your hand is out of his vision. He don't know what you're doing. So keep yourself above in your head visor. And most of the time, you got some guys that act butts, but I'll tell you, like I tell everybody else, it's not a good time to have court on the side of the road. Don't argue with the officer on the side of the road. He's gonna win that argument. You're not gonna win that argument. So be smart.
Even if What if I know every single knowledge in the book?
You still can't be a lawyer on the side of the road because you don't want to become argumentative. You want to make it home to your family, right?
Yeah.
So the best thing to do is say, hey, okay, you're good. Yes, sir. This. Yes, sir. Because in the end, it will take care of itself because if you violate any type of your law, like for laws, you can sue them. But you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you start acting crazy, then they'll arrest you for, just being, just doing something crazy.
Right.
So, you have to think about that. It has been plenty of times where I have did a traffic stop and the individual thought that they were right, but they were wrong because they violated the law. They didn't have lights, they didn't do something, but, I'm always respectful and tell them, look, this is not the time to have that argument. This is my badge number, you can call the supervisor, you can make a complaint, but never try to argue with them on the side of the road because you'll never win it because it's just you and an individual.
Right. So like then I'm like when you mention you gotta make it home to your family, I think we forget that police officers are humans too. Like you know what I'm saying, they just gotta protect themselves too. But cause I be seeing videos all the time, not cause I sometimes I look into it so I can do like research, but every time I see a white officer pull over a black person, they automatically like put a hand on their holster. I'm not saying all officers, but like from like viral videos and stuff like that, they automatically put a hand on their holster for what?
And I think if you notice, and you may not notice me, like if I'm on the college campus, this is I'm gonna stand up for a second. This is something I do. I'll stand up and our posture is like this. We're supposed to keep our hands above our waist in case something happens. We can defend ourselves. Me myself, sometimes I'll be sitting there doing just like this. Nobody will pay me any attention. But if it's somebody else with another ethnic background, people automatically say, "Why has he got his hand on his holster?" Now, sometimes they're just using it as a whole, like just rest. But when you see them unstrap or take something out, that's totally different. So sometimes it's a rest thing, and then sometimes you got to realize that I don't know what's in that car. I have, whether you're white, black, or whatever, I don't know what's in that car. So if something happens, I have to be prepared instead of having my hands down here.
Right.
So if I got my hands down here and a suspect just comes out, I can't protect myself, but I try to keep myself close to the car. So if something happens, they have to come out of the car, reach out of the car to give me time enough to defend myself.
Right. But I think that if a traffic stop and an individual is looking at his side mirror and he see you like this, I feel like that kind of gets him in the way of I don't want to deal with this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he gets scared, he gets frightened.
And you could it really is according to where you are and who you are and how you do your traffic stops. So, I'm gonna be honest with you, I've gotten pulled over by police officers and I get, I don't care, I'm gonna fringe. That's just me. Because number one, you stopped me for what reason? I wanna know what you stopped me for. But I know you got a firearm on you and I got one too. Yeah. So I'm probably more terrified than you because I don't know what would be said if something happened to me. So with that being said, you just gotta be calm, watch what they doing, and just make sure that you're recording it. That's all you gotta do. Period.
But some officers don't like being recorded though.
I mean, that's your right. You can record.
But what if they knock out your hand? Is it legal to pick it up?
Yeah.
Then when you pick it up, then they're like, oh, you trying to fight? Then they started I don't know.
So the smartest thing to do in that instant, you can just say, hey, I'm recording this for my safety.
Yeah.
And you can set your phone right there where they can see it. Most of the time, they have a body cam on as well. So things are a little bit different than they were, when all these videos and stuff start coming out. And I've seen some videos where I saw was just dead wrong, where some officers were flat out wrong. Those are the ones that will be televised. But the ones where everybody thought the officer was right or wrong, and then he ended up right, you hear nothing else about it. So you got to think about stuff like that. That's why I try to remain neutral until all facts come out. Because if you see one video, the first thing you say, well, like, oh, he shouldn't have done that, but you really don't know the whole before, you don't know what happened after and doing, so you can't judge the situation right off the bat.
So have you ever felt guilty for like doing your job?
Only time I really felt guilty was like when it's dealing with juveniles. Anybody else, I'm fine, but like juvenile, it just made me feel like, man, that kid had a chance and he did this. And I don't have that feeling. I really honestly don't, because now I look at myself from a perspective that I can sit and talk to you, anybody, and see what's going on with you. And you know what? Sometimes that can prevent you from doing things in the future. And that's why, I've seen a lot of times where I arrested certain ones, and I'm just like, well, it is what it is. But I'm telling you, when it comes out to a young man that's 14 to 15 years old, and you see him get locked up or charged for a felony, and he was charged as an adult, that's not good. I mean, it just ruins his whole life. Well, I mean, I just go, wow, what was he thinking? Or what was she thinking?
And that's why you're going to get your.
Yeah, and so that's why, a lot of the things that they're going through are like passed down from generation to generation. Like I told you, misdiagnosed, your area that you stay in, how you were raised, and your ethnicity plays a great deal in it too. Because if I'm young and black and I'm living in a certain area, of course, I'm not going to have the same thing that somebody else may have out north. Mm-hmm. So them going to jail is less likely for them to go to jail. But I'm the one that's high prone to go to jail. So you gotta make sure as a young black man, you cannot have any strikes against you. And that's sad. We're born with strikes against us. They say one, I say two. You cannot make a mistake in the system it's built for a revolving door.
Yeah.
And we just have to watch what we're doing and stay praying for our kids and our country.
So if you was to add value to black individuals or black people, or you know what I'm saying, like any generation or race, what would it be if you're telling anything?
I guess the main thing I would tell them is that you are the 5 people that you hang around. Because if you're hanging around positive individuals, then you do positive things. But if you don't, you're subject to do things that they do.
Right.
So you never found somebody that deals with drugs, 5 of them, and then you got one over here that don't do anything. So what it is that it's something about each of those individuals that draw you to those individuals.
That being said, man, Chief Jordan, the GOAT, Mike, the GOAT, you know what I'm saying? Wait, what happened to him?
It died.
Alright,
it was falling out.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, say like.
Alright, bro.
Alright, you too. That being said, man, if you enjoyed the video, like it.
Please like.
Yeah.
Please share.
Oh, he gonna arrest you.
I don't know about arrest you, but I'll probably come talk to you about it.
Yeah, facts. But you got any, you want to shout anything out? You working on anything that you want to?
Just making sure, this is the end of the semester. Just make sure you guys just be mindful of your surroundings. Make sure that you locking up, doing things you should be doing, like you always do, and just be mindful. Just this is the end of the semester. And just pass your exams and study hard. That's one thing. Just study.
Study, man. Study that subscribe button. But anyway, this is a motto. Damn right, I love the life I live. I went from a negative to a positive. We gotta be on the scene now.
Down with the life I live, I went from a negative to a positive.
Damn right, I love the life I live.
Down with the life I live, I went from a negative to a positive.
It's damn right.
Damn right.
Yeah. Damn ain't really a cuss word. It ain't no really a cuss word.
Damn right where I live.
No, damn right, I love the life I live.
See, that's like, I'm gonna let you do this.
You don't want to be a part of it?
No, because I ain't gonna remember.
Come on, man.
Damn right.
I love the life I live.
Damn right, I love the life I live. I went from a negative to a positive.
That's right.
All right.
3, 2, 1. Damn right, I love the life I live.
You saying damn right from the life I live?
Nah, it's
damn right, I love the life I live.
Okay. Damn right from the life I live.
No, damn right, I love
the life I live.
Yeah.
Damn right, I love the life I live. I went from a negative to a positive.
Yeah.
Damn right from the life I live.
No, damn right, I love.
Okay.
All right. 3. All right, go ahead. Damn
right.
I'm just 3, 2, 1.
Damn right, I love the life I live. I went from a negative to a positive.
You heard it, man. Positive vibes only, man. Make sure y'all subscribe. Like the video.
Hit him up.
Yeah, follow my Instagram. WeirdLooks, different perspective. Follow Mike if y'all want to. Mike, what's your Instagram?
_ Mike Cheers.
You heard? Subscribe, man. Appreciate that, man.
Good job. Y'all always do a good job, man.
Yes, appreciate that.
He was so